We begin with the breaking news in the war in the Middle East. A ceasefire deal has just been reached between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon.
Now, this deal will be implemented immediately, but in phases, allowing Israel time to withdraw its forces. Jessica Moore has been following this conflict since it began more than a year ago, and she joins us here in studio with what this agreement means. Jessica?
Huge news, Christina Maurice. The ceasefire pauses months of intense bloodshed, and at least one U.S. diplomat believes it will also help pave the way for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza, as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu tells his people the war will not end until Hamas is no longer a threat.
Under the deal reached today, effective at 4 a.m. tomorrow local time, the fighting across the Lebanese-Israeli border will end. This is designed to be a permanent cessation of hostilities.
President Biden announcing a ceasefire deal between Israel and Lebanon, brokered by the U.S. and France and approved late Tuesday by Israel's security cabinet.
Hezbollah terrorist infrastructure in southern Lebanon will not be allowed to be rebuilt. Civilians on both sides will soon be able to safely return to their communities and begin to rebuild their homes, their schools, their farms, their businesses, and their very lives.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says if Hezbollah breaks the ceasefire, Israel will strike back, adding the broader war is not over.
We will make sure that Gaza will no longer be a threat on Israel, and we will bring back the residents of the north to their homes. The war will not finish until we reach all of its goals.
The ceasefire agreement requires Israel to withdraw its troops within 60 days and allows Lebanese forces to move into the impacted areas. Hezbollah would end its armed presence along the border south of the Litani River. And while the deal does not include any agreement with Hamas, Secretary of State Antony Blinken says it could help negotiations in Gaza.
In particular, Hamas will know that it can't count on other fronts opening up in the war. So, we're tracking this very closely, and I hope and believe that we can get this over the finish line.
Israeli warplanes struck central Beirut Tuesday, just hours before Israel's leadership voted to accept the deal to end more than a year of fighting with Iranian-backed Hezbollah militants in Lebanon. The conflict between Israel and Hezbollah spiraled into a full-scale war in September. Israel's offensive has forced more than 1 million people from their homes in Lebanon. The U.S. has said it could play a role in rebuilding infrastructure destroyed by the Israeli strikes. President Biden said no U.S. troops would be sent to southern Lebanon, making good on that promise to the American people he made months ago. The president did say, however, that the U.S. will work with France and other allies to ensure Hezbollah does not violate the terms of the agreement. Maurice, Christine.
Thank you, Jessica.
And do stay with CBS News New York for the latest developments in the Middle East, on air and online at cbsnewyork.com.